One, if you guys get into audio or video, like with the flips, that has its own microphone. It's picking up my voice, hopefully loud and clear right now. But maybe you want to add music or other stuff, sound effects. How are you going to edit those together? You guys might have some stuff on your computers at home or at school, but if you don't, this thing, Audacity, it's free, very, very basic audio editor where you can kind of stitch clips together. You can kind of do cool effects. You can do echoes and stuff like that. And you have to download it. All these other ones, you don't even have to download it. You can just use it right on the web, but it's free. WordPress, I mentioned, and actually the blog post that we all read, that's on a WordPress blog. And it's one of the more popular blogging platforms. I kind of summarize some of the reasons here. But yeah, all you have to do, 5 minutes, you can kind of set up an account and just to make it easy to start blogging right away. You can choose to customize it more if you want to, but it's something I encourage you guys to do because really, no matter, especially if you're going to go into communications, one of the questions you'll probably get asked during an interview is, what's your blog address? And if you say, oh, I don't have a blog, they're going to ask you why not. It's just kind of, people are expected to have a presence these days in communications and kind of develop their personal brand, and the blog is a great way to do it. YouTube, obviously you guys are all familiar with. You probably mostly watch videos on there. Does anyone have a YouTube account where they actually upload videos to YouTube? What's that? Okay. And you might, and just I put it on there because you guys mainly think of it just as sort of a fun thing to watch fun videos, but it can be used the other way too. And sort of the great use for it for news is it gets your sort of content out there in another community, which the same can be said for Flickr. Later on, you don't have to count on people just sort of going to your newspaper website. It's out there, and when they're browsing stuff on YouTube, they might just discover your content another way, and you can sort of grow your audience that way. Splashup, I've seen similar things. It's not made by Photoshop, but it's very similar to it. And you can do a lot of the similar things, sort of basic, cropping and sort of, adjustments and refinements, all free online. So rather than, forking over $500 for Photoshop, you don't need to do terribly advanced things. There's a free tool for that. Chartle's another relatively new one. You guys should be learning now, and if you sort of stick with journalism, that it's no longer enough, just to sort of present text, photos, and call it a day. You want it to be more interactive. You gotta have more. I mean, this is always been the case. You always want more points of entry to the article, and a lot of times, especially as I say here, if you have a very data-heavy piece or something that kind of has a complex concept, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I guess the same can be said for a chart or a diagram. You can communicate something in a little chart much more efficiently than it might take like several hundred words to explain. And so this is free, and the cool thing is it sort of does all sort of the design and formatting for you. You just kind of enter in your data. And right away, it gives you a link where you can just sort of paste this code into your blog or your website, and it automatically embeds it there. And the cool thing is that the charts can be interactive too. They're not just sort of static like you would see on a printed page. Users can sort of click and change things, and the chart or diagram can respond. Flickr, you guys might be familiar with too. And probably the best use for news for Flickr is the sort of crowdsourcing content. If you have a bunch of people going to a big, sort of festival or parade, a lot of these, you go with something like that, everyone has a camera, why not have your news organization, sharing that with people and sort of extending, having everyone there be a photographer for you. And Flickr's really good for organizing, and they have tags, and just sort of just tell, if you're on Flickr, tag your thing with, Main Street Parade 2010 or whatever, and then you can link from your site or even embed images with that tag, and boom, like I said, sort of anyone who saw sort of your message, the tag with Flickr photos is suddenly a photographer for your news organization. which is pretty cool. Two more, Google Wave. Has anyone heard of that? It was kind of big buzz when it came out just about a year ago, like in the tech community, and maybe didn't necessarily take off the way people expected. And you can read the description there. The concept has a lot of potential. The thing is that this isn't proprietary. Basically, it is open source, and Google's letting people add on to it and change to it and however they want. But basically, the idea was it's kind of what email would be like if it was invented now instead of really 40 years ago. I mean, email is pretty much as old as the internet, which is 40 years old. The World Wide Web, where really the internet became more sort of accessible to the general public. That came along in 92, but really the internet and email have been around for a while. And it's cool and email is useful, but really I think if you were designing it from scratch, you would probably do some things differently. And you can explore, and that's kind of some things Google Wave to do. And finally, it's actually, I'm not using this, but I'm going to be covering an event live later today at Elon. Nicholas Kristof, a really good columnist for the New York Times, who's going to be addressing my school today. And if I have time, which I may not, I can show you guys later, though. I can show you sort of the page I set up to cover that event live. But this one, it's cool because it's free, though they do have a paid version that gives you more features. But everything's self-contained, and you can kind of do, it's pretty much, you can post, they call it live blogging, but it's kind of like a chat. It's like, GChat or Facebook chat, where basically you type something out and then it appears instantaneously. And sort of audiences can talk back in a similar way, and it also has options for live streaming video. That's a pretty neat thing. It really offers a lot of features for something that's free. So that is a very quick rundown. Again, I'll give you guys this link and encourage you to explore things yourselves. That's really the best way.